The Reformed political party is an orthodox Protestant Calvinist political party in the Netherlands. The term Reformed is not a reference to political reform, but is a synonym for Calvinism. The SGP is the oldest political party in the Netherlands in its current form, and has for its entire existence been in opposition. The party has, owing to its orthodox political ideals and its refusal to cooperate in any cabinet, been called a testimonial party. Party history. Foundation. The SGP was founded on April 24, 1918, by several conservative members of the Protestant Anti-Revolutionary Party. They did not support the female suffrage, which the ARP had made possible. Furthermore, they were against the alliance the ARP had formed with the General League of Roman Catholic Caucuses. The party entered in the 1918 general elections, but was unable to win any seats. The leading figure in the party's foundation was Jersey Minister Gerrit Hendrik Kersen. 1922 1945 In the 1922 election the party entered Parliament. In this period the SGP became most noted for proposing to abolish the Dutch representation at the Holy See during each annual parliamentary debate on the budget of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Each year the Protestant Christian Historical Union voted in favour. The CHU was in cabinet with the Catholic General League, but many of its members and supporters still had strong feelings against the Catholic Church. In 1925 the left-wing opposition composed of the Free-Thinking Democratic League and Social Democratic Workers' Party voted in favour of the motion. They were indifferent to the representation at the Holy See, but saw this as a possibility to divide the confessional cabinet. And indeed the cabinet fell over this issue, in what is known as the Nacht van Kersen. In the subsequent elections, the party won one seat, and in the 1929 election the party won another. It remained stable in the 1933 elections but lost one seat in the 1937 elections in which ARP Prime Minister Hendrikus College performed particularly well. During the Second World War, Kersen cooperated with the Nazi occupiers to allow his paper, the Bania, to be printed. He also condemned the resistance, saying the Nazi invasion was divine retribution for desecrating the Lord's Day. After the war, he was branded a collaborator and permanently stripped of his seat in the House of Representatives. 1945 present. Kersen was succeeded by Peter Zand, under whose leadership the SGP was very stable, continually getting 2% of votes. In 1956 the SGP profited from the enlargement of Parliament, and it got a seat in the Senate, which the party lost in 1960, but regained in 1971. In 1961 Zand died and was succeeded by engineer Cor van Dis Sr. After 10 years he stood down in favour of Minister Het Abma, who also stepped down after 10 years, in favour of engineer Henk van Rossum. In 1984 the SGP joined the two other Orthodox Protestant parties Reformatory Political Federation and the Reformed Political League in order to gain one seat in the European Parliament. It was taken by SGP engineer Van der Waal. In 1986 Van Rossum was succeeded by Bas van der Vlies, who led the party till March 2010, when he was succeeded by Kees van der Sarge. In 1994 the party lost one seat in Parliament, which it regained in 1998 but lost again in 2002. After the general election of 2003, the Christian Democratic Appeal and the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy held talks with the SGP, the first time in recent history that the SGP was seriously considered as a possible coalition partner. Ultimately, the Democrats 66 joined the second Balkenende cabinet instead of the SGP, mostly because of the ideological differences between VVD and SGP. On September 7, 2005 the District Court of The Hague judged that the party could no longer receive subsidies from the government, because women were not allowed to hold positions in the party. This was found to be a violation of the 1981 UN Treaty on Women in which the Netherlands committed to fighting discrimination. It also was a violation of the first article of the Dutch Constitution, the principle of non-discrimination. The Dutch Council of State overturned the decision nevertheless, maintaining that a party's political philosophy takes precedence, and that women have the opportunity to join other political parties where they can obtain a leadership role. Female members of the Reformed political party Youth, which does allow female membership, said however that they did not feel discriminated or repressed. During a party congress on June 24, 2006, the SGP lifted the ban on female membership. Political positions inside and outside the party are open to women. On March 19, 2014, the first female SGP delegate was elected to the Vlissingen Municipal Council. Ideology and issues. The SGP is a reactionary party and anti-democratic in its principles, though it accepts parliamentary politics in practice. It has traditionally opposed universal suffrage, seeking to replace this with a form of organic suffrage restricted to male heads of households. As a radical Protestant conservative party, the SGP draws much from its ideology from the Reformed tradition, specifically the ecclesiastical doctrinal standards known as the Three Forms of Unity, including an unamended version of the Belgic Confession. The latter text is explicitly mentioned in the first principle of the party, where it is stated that the SGP strives towards a government totally based on the Bible. This first principle also states that the uncut version of the Belgic Confession is meant, which adds the task of opposing anti-Christian powers to the description of the government's roles and tasks. The party is a strict defender of the separation between church and state, rejecting both the state church and church state. Both church and state are believed to have distinct roles in society, while working towards the same goal, but despite this, the SGP advocates theocracy. The SGP opposes freedom of religion, but advocates freedom of conscience instead, noting that obedience to the law of God cannot be forced. The SGP opposes feminism, and concludes, on biblical grounds, that men and women are of equal value but not equal. Men and women, so the party claims, have different places in society. This belief led to restricting party membership to men until 2006, when this restriction became subject to controversy and was eventually removed. In controversial discussions in the Dutch House of Representatives, the SGP often stresses the importance of the rule of law, parliamentary procedure and rules of order, regardless of ideological agreement. The party favors the reintroduction of the death penalty in the Netherlands. They base this on the Bible, specifically on Genesis 9:6, "Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man," and Exodus 21:12, "He that smiteth a man, so that he die, shall be surely put to death." Representation. This is a list of representations of Reformed political party in the Dutch Parliament, as well as the provincial, municipal and European elections. The party's lijsttrekker has been the same as the fractievoorzitter of that year in every election. In combined Christian Union SGP parliamentary parties. In 2007, the total number of seats for election in the provincial elections was reduced. Proportionally, the party went from 2.51% to 2.39% in that year, and the combined list from 0.77% to 0.88%. Source: nvkiesingen.com. House of Representatives equals. Since the 2012 elections the party has had 3 representatives in the House of Representatives, Kees van der Sarge, Parliamentary Group Leader, Roelof Bisschop, Albert de Groof. Senate equals. Since the 2015 Senate elections, the party has had 2 representatives in the Senate, Peter Schuck, Senate Group Leader, Diederik van Dijk. European Parliament equals. Since the 1984 European Parliament election the party has one elected representative in the European Parliament. From 1984 to 1997 Leen van der Wal was the representative, from 1999 until now Bas Belder is the party's representative. In the European elections, the SGP formed one parliamentary party with the Christian Union, called Christen Union SGP. It was part of the Independence Democracy European Parliamentary Group. Following the results of the 2009 European Parliament elections, the INDEM group was disbanded, and the SGP is joined the Europe of Freedom and Democracy European Parliamentary Group. After the 2014 European Parliament elections, The SGP left the EFD and joined the Christian Union and the European Conservatives and Reformists group, Basbelder, member. Municipal and provincial government equals. Provincial government. In provincial governments, the party participates in the Zeeland Provincial Executive. There, the party is the strongest, with over 10% of the vote. It has 12 members of provincial legislature. The table below shows the election results of the 2011 provincial election in each province. It shows the areas where the Reformed political party is strong, namely in the Dutch Bible Belt, a band from Zeeland, via parts of South Holland and Utrecht, Gelderland to Overijssel. Result of Combined Christian Union SGP lists. Members of the SGP and Combined Christian Union SGP parliamentary parties. Municipal government. 5 of the 414 mayors of the Netherlands are members of the SGP, and the party participates in several local executives, usually in municipalities located within the Dutch Bible Belt. The party has 40 aldermen and 244 members of local legislature. In many municipalities where the SGP is weaker, it cooperates with the Christian Unie, presenting common lists. Electorate. The SGP has a very stable electorate, varying between 2 and 3 seats. The party has been called a Euro-Owen almost perfect illustration of Duverger's category of a Euro-y fossilized minor party. Most of its electorate is formed by so-called bevindelijk gereformeerden, Reformed Christians for whom personal religious experience is very important. This group is formed by several smaller churches such as the Christian Reformed Churches, Reformed Congregations, Restored Reformed Church, and Old Reformed congregations in the Netherlands, as well as the conservative wing of the Protestant Church in the Netherlands, the Reformed Association. However, not all members of these churches/church wings vote SGP. The SGP's support is concentrated geographically in the Dutch Bible Belt, a band of strongly reformed municipalities ranging from Zeeland in the south via Go-Overflakke and the Alblasserwoord in South Holland and the Vloo in Gelderland to the western part of Overijssel, around Staphorst. The SGP is also very strong on the former island Urk. The party scored absolute majorities in the several villages in Udal, even 65.2% of the vote. Organization. Organizational structure. The highest organ of the SGP is the Congress, which is formed by delegates from the municipal branches. It convenes once every year. It appoints the party board and decides the order of the Senate, House of Representatives, European Parliament candidates list and has the last say over the party program. The SGP chairman is always a minister. Since 2001 this position is ceremonial, as the general chair leads the party's organization. The party has 245 municipal branches and has a provincial federation in each province, except for Limburg. Linked organizations. The party publishes the banner 2 weekly since 1921. The scientific institute of the party is called the Guido de Brouwers Foundation, which publishes the magazine Zicht. The youth organization of the SGP is called the Reformed Political Party Youth, which with its approximately 12,000 members is the largest political youth organization in the Netherlands. The SGP participates in the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, a democracy assistance organization of 7 Dutch political parties. Pillarized organizations. The SGP still has close links with several other orthodox Protestant organizations, such as several Reformed churches and the newspaper Reformatorische Dagblad. Together they form a small but strong Orthodox Reformed pillar. Relationships to other parties. Until 1963 the SGP was relatively isolated in Parliament. The strongly anti-papal SGP refused to cooperate with Catholic People's Party or the secularists. The larger Protestant ARP had some sympathy for the party, but cooperated tightly with the KVP in the Protestant CHU. In 1963 another Orthodox Protestant party, the GPV entered Parliament. In 1981 they were joined by the OPF. Together these 3 parties formed the small Christian parties. They shared the same Orthodox Protestant political ideals and had the same political strategy, as testimonial parties. They cooperated in municipalities, both in municipal executives, where the parties were strong, as well as in common municipal parties, where the parties were weak. In the 1984 European election the parties presented a common list and they won one seat in Parliament. After 1993 the cooperation between the GPV and the RPF intensified, but the SGP's position at the time on female suffrage prevented the SGP joining this closer cooperation. However, in 2000 the GPV and RPF fused to form the Christian Union. Traditionally the SGP and the CU worked together closely as they were both based on Protestant Christian politics. Recently however, as the CU has moved more towards the centre-left, discernible differences of philosophy between the SGP and CU have caused the parties to join together in elections. The most notable example was the 2011 Senate election where the SGP and CU did not combine their votes. Prime Minister Mark Rutte's first government depended on the SGP's support in the Senate to pass legislation where it fell one seat short of a majority in the 2011 election. As a result, the party was able to achieve a number of its own political objectives, continuing child support for larger families, and restricting business hours on Sundays. Notes. References. External links, official website, European Parliament, NL, SGP.